Hey everyone, Sebastian here, back again with more SAT math. This time I'm doing advanced math questions that I think will be useful to know for the upcoming SAT. I'm not saying these exact questions will show up or this exact concept, but they are definitely helpful. So do these three with me. If you have questions, put them in the comments. Remember, I have other videos helping you prepare for the SAT in September and just in general. So let's try it out. Which of the following expressions is R a factor of 6x squared minus 5x minus 6? We have 1, 3x minus 2, and 2, 2x minus 3. And our options are A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, 1 and 2, and D, neither 1 nor 2. So there's a lot of ways to do this. You could factor, you could do quadratic equation, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Desmos to plug it in and see what happens from there. Okay, so I'm going to do the equation 6x squared minus 5x minus 6. And then I'm going to look at the points. So I have 1.5 as a solution and negative 0.6667, which I can read as negative 2/3. So what's going to happen is my solutions will be x minus 3/2 and x plus 2/3. But if I multiply this by 2, I'm going to get 2x minus 3. And when I multiply this, I'm going to get 3x plus 2. That gives us whole numbers, which they usually like. And if we look at our answers, we have 2x minus 3 and we have 3x minus 2. So 3x minus 2 is the issue. It's not going to work. That's the negative version, but 2x minus 3 does work. It is a B. And if you wanted to test out to make sure this worked, you could do 2x times 3x and get 6x squared, which matches the original. Negative 3 times positive 3 is going to be negative 9x. And then 2x times 2 is going to be plus 4x. And then negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And we'll get 6x squared minus 5x minus 6b. Which gives us the original. Back to that. So it's only B, it's not C, and it's not D, because 1 didn't work, but B did work. So if you have questions on that, let me know. Again, you could have done factoring on your own. Some people are factoring fiends, and I love that. But this is a great example of when to use Desmos, when they give you the equation in a very straightforward way, and you can just go from there. All right, and then I have one here. Absolute values don't come up too much on SAT, but this is a great example of one that has it. So we have 3 absolute values, 6 minus x, minus 5 absolute values, 6 minus x equals negative 14. What is the negative solution to the given equation? So, because I want you to notice how this is 6 minus x and 6 minus x. So you can basically factor them out and get 3 minus 5 and get negative 2, 6 minus x equals negative 14. If you didn't have that, it'd be much more complicated. So that's an important thing to notice. And you could plug this in to Desmos, but honestly, I think it might be easier even not to do Desmos. So you're going to get 6 minus x, absolute value of 6 minus x equals 7, which makes sense because we couldn't get a negative here, so the negative 2, when it divided, worked great. And we have 6 minus x equals 7. 6 minus x equals negative 7. So let's see what happens here. We'll get negative x equals 1. X equals negative 1. So that should be the answer because we're looking for the negative solution. And here we'd get negative x equals negative 13. So x equals 13. That's the positive solution. And our answer is x equals negative 1. Again, this is considered hard by the SAT standards, but it's really not that bad once you notice the pattern. So always when you look at an equation, especially if there's like parentheses and adding or subtraction, see if there's a pattern that you can pick up on. And this is the last question I think will be useful for you for the September SAT. The product of two negative integers is 391. The smaller of the two integers is 11 more than twice the second. What is the smaller of the two integers? So we're told they're both negative and they get to 391. So we would do x times 2x plus 11 equals 391. That'll give us 2x squared plus 11x equals 391. Let's subtract and get 2x squared plus 11x minus 391 equals 0. And let's do Desmos for that. Why not, right? So I'm going to move it over here so I can see. I'll do 2x squared plus 11x minus 391. Okay, so I get 11.5 and it's negative 17. Okay, so that should be the one we're looking for because we're told they're negative. And that would be x here. What is the smaller of the two? Remember, we were told that it is 2x plus 11, so we're going to do negative 17, and then the other one would be negative 17 times 2 plus 11, that gets us negative 23. Okay, so that is the smaller of the two integers. It'll be negative 23. I think the tricky thing here, besides doing this out, is remembering it's asking for the smaller of them and remembering that that's negative 23, not negative 17. So just keep that in mind when you're working on these, to check what they're asking for at the very end, especially when it's answer that has multiple possibilities and you have to choose your own response, because then it can be tricky if you choose the wrong one that they're asking for. I've seen many students miss questions just for that. And that's it for today. Those are the 3 questions. If you have any other questions you want me to cover, I'm always happy to. But otherwise, I hope it's sunny where you are. And if it's not, I hope the rain is cleaning your windows and watering your plants. Bye.